Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says Nigeria and Canada can do much more together by improving trade, deepening ongoing educational collaboration, continuing dialogue on the global energy transition issues and climate change, amongst others. This was the highlight of his meeting with the Canadian Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, on Monday as part of his 3-day state visit to Canada. The Canadian Deputy Prime Minister, who is also the nation's finance minister, had earlier expressed similar sentiments while welcoming the Vice President. She observed that the Canadian government values its relationship with Africa, especially Nigeria, and has been looking forward to the visit for a long time, adding that the relationship with Nigeria is very important to them. The coordinator and technical head of the Presidential Steering Committee Secretariat on COVID-19, Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed, has said that Nigeria still maintains its travel protocol for disease surveillance and to protect the populace. Mohammed said the COVID-19 protocols have not been fully removed, as about 85 countries still required pre-departure testing. 49 other countries required PCR tests upon arrival into the country, and 30 countries still required quarantine upon arrival to the countries. Mohammed, who said this in an interview this morning, added that COVID-19 was not over and relaxing the protocols had to be done safely. The Senate Committee on Special Duties has summoned Zainab Ahmed, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, over the insertion of 206 billion naira into the 2023 budget of the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. Yusuf, the committee's chairman, issued the summon when the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sidiya Farouk, appeared before the panel for the defense of the ministry's 2023 budget on Monday. Ishaku Abo, a member of the committee, asked Farouk about the nature of the projects to be implemented with the 206 billion naira the minister plans to borrow. In her response, the humanitarian minister could not furnish the committee with the exact details of what the sum of 206 billion naira in her budget was intended for, explaining that it was negotiated between the Ministry of Finance and the World Bank. Subsequently, Yusuf approved the motion to summon the finance minister to appear before the committee to give explanation on the money. Justice Iyank Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to immediately resume continuous voters registration (CVR) until 90 days before the 2023 general elections. Delivering judgment, Justice Ekwo also directed INEC to ensure that eligible Nigerians are not deprived the opportunity to have the voters' cards for the forthcoming poll. He held that it was the constitutional responsibility of the electoral umpire to make adequate provision for the exercise in accordance with the Nigerian laws. One Anajat Salmat and 3 others had sued INEC, arguing that the electoral body cannot stop the voter registration contrary to the stipulated provisions of the Constitution. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, and his running mate, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State, have met with the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in Abuja this morning. Atiku was accompanied to the interactive session by other PDP chieftains. This is one of the interactive sessions that the Christian Party has had with presidential candidates and their running mates. Last Wednesday, CAN leadership met with the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, Bola Tinubu, and other members of his party. The Nigerian Medical Association Cross River State Chapter has commended Governor Ben Ayade and security agencies on the release of their 2 abducted members. The branch chairman of the association, Dr. Felix Achibang, who confirmed the release, said the 2 medical doctors were released alongside 2 others in the early hours of today without payment of ransom. He noted that it was the efforts of the Cross River State government and the security agencies that led to the abducted 4 to regain their freedom from the abductors. The 2 medical personnel, along with 2 others, were abducted at a commuter along the Calabar-Ikam Highway last weekend, prompting the NMA to commence indefinite industrial action on Monday following the expiration of the 48 hours given to the state government to secure their freedom. The Edo State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, has urged Governor Godwin Obaseki to give an account of the 13% derivation fund that the federal government released to all oil-producing states. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike had last week in Port Harcourt said the projects he carried out in the state were made possible by the over 9 trillion naira derivation fund released by the federal government to all Niger Delta states. Speaking at a press briefing on Monday, Chairman of the state APC, Colonel David Imuse, retired, called on Obaseki to tell the Edo people what he did with the state's share of the money. The party also asked to see the development projects in the oil and gas producing communities of Edo State, which Obaseki dedicated the arrears of the 13% derivation funds for, if any. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, has asked police officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force to be apolitical before, during and after the next general elections. The IG, who issued the warning during a visit to the Kogi State Police Command headquarters in Lokoja on Monday, also reminded the officers of their duty and responsibility to uphold the Constitution and to protect the lives and property of citizens, adding that they cannot afford to fail in carrying out these tasks. Meanwhile, the Kogi State Governor, Yahaya Bello, has vowed not to allow politicians drive the state back to the era of crime and criminality. Speaking while playing host to the IGP on Monday, the governor said the state is in possession of credible intelligence reports that some political elements are out to foment trouble during and after the general elections, vowing that his administration will not allow insecurity to be smuggled into Kogi State through the boot of politics. You're still listening to the news on Lagos Talks 91.3. On the foreign scene, the military rulers in Mali have banned all non-governmental organizations that are funded or supported by France from operating in the country. Humanitarian groups are included in the ban. In a statement, the junta said the move followed France's decision to stop development aid over Bamako's alleged use of paramilitaries from the Russian Wagner Group. Mali's interim Prime Minister, Colonel Abdoulaye Maïga, denied those allegations, saying that they were aimed at destabilizing the country. Mali's foreign ministry described the French government as dehumanizing aid for their people and said France was using the funds to blackmail governments and support the terrorist groups in Mali. Many of those killed and injured in a major earthquake on the Indonesian island of Java were children, rescuers say, as the death toll soars to 268. Officials say more than 1,000 people were wounded. In its latest announcements today, the National Disaster Mitigation Agency added that 151 people were still missing. It also said that 22,000 houses had been damaged and that more than 58,000 people had taken shelter in several locations in the region. The 5.6 magnitude quake struck a mountainous region on Monday, causing landslides that buried entire villages near the West Java town of Kanjo. And out of business news, the Depots and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPMAN, has warned that the implementation of 0.5% tax on gross turnover by petroleum marketing companies, as captured in the Finance Act 2020, will ruin investments. This was even as DAPMAN raised fears that by the end of this year, oil marketers may begin to fold up or will have to borrow to pay taxes. Executive Secretary of DAPMAN, Mr. Olufemi Adewale, handed down the warning at the Platforms Africa Continental Forum held in Lagos yesterday. According to the Finance Act 2020, by the end of this year, petroleum marketing companies must begin to pay 0.5% tax of their gross turnover. And now to sport news. Belgium will not wear their white away shirts with the word love on the collar in the group stage of the World Cup in Qatar following a discussion with FIFA. It is understood to be part of a commercial dispute. Belgium unveiled their away kit in September as part of a deal with Adidas and music festival Tomorrowland. They plan to wear their red home shirts for the group matches against Canada, Morocco and Croatia. The news comes after England, Wales and other European nations confirmed they will not wear One Love armbands at the World Cup because of the threat of players getting yellow cards. In Formula One, China's return to the Formula One schedule will be cancelled next year as a result of the country's COVID policies. Formula One has not visited China since 2019, but was due to return for the fourth race in 2023 on April 16. China's zero-COVID policy has led F1 to conclude the race cannot go ahead. The key sticking point is that F1 staff would not be given exemptions from quarantine requirements in the event of suffering a COVID-19 infection. F1 feels that it cannot ask teams to go to the country for the race in Shanghai with the risk that staff could be detained for days if they caught coronavirus. And finally, in entertainment news, 25 years after she first played the role of Cinderella, Brandy is stepping into her glass slippers again. The US singer and actress would reprise her role as the fairy tale heroine, first seen in the 1997 television movie Cinderella, in a new installment of the Descendants franchise for Disney+, the company said on Monday. Also joining the project, called The Pocket Watch, is Rita Ora as the Queen of Hearts from the Alice in Wonderland story. The first film in the series Descendants told the story of the teenage children of some of the most well-known villains from Disney's animated classics. A release date for the film has not yet been announced.
Lagos Talks
91.3